Hello, folks. It's me, Fearox Frank. Welcome back to Fearox Frank Reviews. What do I, Fearox Frank, the video review punk, have to say about today's film? Well, here's a hint. What do you get when you mix Romeo and the stories of Romeo and Juliet, the famous Southern tale about the Hatfields versus the McCoys, and Pumpkinhead? You get a weird fucking movie as Pumpkinhead Blood Feud. It's going to be a weird one. Yeah, I know some of you were probably getting like a huge laugh out of the whole thing because I said, "What do you think such Romeo and Juliet Hatfields and McCoys versus with the whole Pumpkinhead storyline?" You probably thought I was kidding about that, right? No, I'm not. The main emphasis on the entire movie revolves around the southern rivalry tale about the Hatfields and the McCoys, where they have one family member from each side having a Romeo and Juliet esque love storyline, and and an accidental killing leads to the summoning of our favorite demon of vengeance, Pumpkinhead, and that is literally the entire story of the whole fucking film. Oh God. If you want me to go into a history detail on this movie or anything, well, this is literally the last Pumpkinhead film that was actually made. So that's actually kind of a shocker. And yes, I've heard the rumors that there was supposed to be a remake in the works since the late 2000s. Actually, I've actually heard earlier that there's supposed to be a remake in the early 2000s or something, but because they had a bunch of horror remakes in the works at the moment. But thanks to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the Rob Zombie Halloween film, hmm, yeah. So eventually they decide, hey, let's remake Pumpkinhead rather than make a sequel. That remake has been in development hell for over a decade at this point, and we're not too sure if we're going to get it either sometime maybe next year or within this decade. All I could say is, since Pumpkinhead has a decent loyal fan base, why not make the fans make a fan made movie to shut everybody up, like what Jason Voorhees has done? I mean, come on, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, I'm done griping about that. Now, let's talk about the Hatfields and McCoys real quick. Now, the whole thing with the Hatfield and McCoys is actually one of the famous Southern tales of a Southern rivalry, huh? Or basically biggest feuds in the South that actually happened. And how did this whole thing occur? Well, believe it or not, it was actually during the Civil War. Yeah, the whole thing happened after the end of the Civil War up to the 1880s to the 1890s. And that's when the feud apparently ended, where most of the members are actually all dead. Yeah. Now, apparently, they do actually have some living relatives to this day, but I couldn't look up any information on the living relatives, nor do I even want to. All right, because what happened back then is like it happened back then. All right, and became a cautionary tale eventually. I mean, all it was like a miscommunication, land rights problems, blood for blood. Yeah, you know what they say that when it comes down to when it comes down to blood feuds and like rivalries, it's really within the South. They take the shit literally. That's thanks to the Hatfields and McCoy, it was proven true. Oh yeah. So what about the Hatfield and McCoys in this version of the film? Well, it's sort of the same thing, but the storyline has changed. That is that the feud is still going on to this day. Which is a little weird. As a matter of fact, I think even the show Bones actually made fun of this whole thing. So yeah, they had the whole situation, except there was a family murder or something, and Dr. Brennan and Agent Booth had to really work into it and try to find out what the hell really happened. And it turns out the whole feud was for nothing. Yeah, it was just an accidental It was an accidental killing because the land was toxic. Go figure. What about this one? Well, it turns out the McCoys actually had a Model T car that ran over Grandpa at a young age. And it's been wheelchair bound ever since. That's the rivalry. But hey, in the South, that shit never go. Seriously, that type of rivalry shit, yeah, it doesn't end that easily. Never does. So the whole movie basically revolves around two particular characters. Two particular characters. Well, okay, that's not exactly true. There's actually a third character involved too. That's not true. There's actually a fourth character involved. There are the four main characters. The movie basically before we get to the rivalry portion with the families. Let's start with the beginning of the movie, where we see two dirt bike guys actually running away from Pumpkinhead, and Pumpkinhead is, I would say, web slinging, but no, it's more like George of the Jungle style, swinging through vines, going after these two boys. Because it turns out they ran over the young wife of a farmer, and well, the farmer wanted revenge. So what happened? He called upon Pumpkinhead. Anyway, one of the dirt bike guys actually gets caught by Pumpkinhead, and he gets brutally murdered by Pumpkinhead. The remaining brother, Dallas, actually actually goes to the farm and begs for forgiveness. He begs, and he even apologizes. And he'll actually go into prison for life, and he'll serve the rest of his life in prison, or even take the death penalty. But the problem is with this franchise, it's too little, too late at this point. So yeah, the guy does actually forgive him, but he can't call the beast off. Anyway, Pumpkinhead actually shows up. Actually, is about to kill the man. He cuts Dallas's chest almost open. Well, almost. It's basically just a flesh wound. So Dallas actually pulls out his gun and goes. It starts to shoot Pumpkinhead. It doesn't work. And he goes, "If I'm going to die, I'll take you with me." And he shoots the husband. And he realizes when the husband actually gets hurt, Pumpkinhead gets hurt more. It's like, so he kills. So with his final shot, he kills the husband, and Pumpkinhead eventually dies out, breaking the curse. But then we get an old familiar face, Lance Henderson. Yes, he's back again as good old Ed Hardy. Ed Hardy. That's right, our favorite Southern ghost. Okay, I'm not gonna do the Southern accent here because I feel like an asshole doing it. So Ed Harley basically comes in and tells him, "Not bad, Dallas. You found the weakness, but you only postponed the inevitable." Go to hell, you best! Where'd he go? Where the hell did he go? So yeah, Dallas survived. Yeah, we come back to our main storyline 5 years later, where we see our main characters, which is Ricky, a McCoy, attending a McCoy wedding, and and we see Jody trying to stop her brothers, the Hatfields, from actually ruining the wedding. So now, to be fair, most of Ricky families knows Jolene, that she's actually the sweetheart, and they know for a fact that Ricky and Jolene actually have a thing for each other. And in fact, one of Ricky's brothers actually said, "Okay, look, Jolene, because of you, I'm going to let these boys go. All right." Yeah, and it turns out it wasn't for nothing. It turns out that was actually for nothing because, yeah, the Hatfields actually distracted the bodyguard brother because they actually stuck into the house, and now we have a good old fashioned hootenanny. It's a family brawl at a wedding. Yep, the Hatfields basically like fucked the wedding up, and they did it in the name of Grandpa. This is so fucking stupid. So basically, Jolene actually scolds her brother, and she tells her baby sister that she's going out for a while. Meanwhile, Ricky is actually going out too with it, and his baby sister tags along a little bit. Yeah, this isn't a good idea. Yeah, this is not going to end well, if you know what I mean. So it turns out Jolene actually has a couple of her brothers following her, and well, Ricky and Jolene they decide to meet up and actually have a romantic night with little Sarah, Ricky's little sister, actually keeping an eye out. Well, oh Christ! Now, to be fair, these two fuckers actually do deserve to die. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. These two fuckers do deserve to die. the two Hatfield brothers actually assault, maybe even intend on really hurting her or possibly raping her, little Sarah, which is okay, dude. That is not cool whatsoever. All right, you fuckers deserve to die for even thinking that. So yeah, she basically runs away and she trips and falls down the hill and hits her head on a tree and killing her instantly. And then the two brothers actually found they said, "Oh shit, we must have lost her somewhere." Well, whatever. Let's go get Jolene. So yeah, they actually interrupt the little romantic get together. They tie Ricky at the back of a car and drag him around, and then cut him loose. What a fucking what a bunch of fucking assholes. Ricky actually is more worried about his sister. Then he sees her body. He screams in anger, and he drags the body, limping it all the way to, you guessed it, the summoning witch. Good yeah. Oh, it's great to see the old witch again. Yeah. The witch of the woods. Uh, and basically he collapses right in front of her. And then, surprisingly, we get to see something interesting. We see the witch actually interacting with Ed Harley's spirit. It's like, hey, Harley, I never thought I'd see you again. Well, I am just as damned as you are. I'm still repenting for my mistake I made all those years ago. If you're smart, you turn this boy away. As much as I would like to, this rage this boy feels, I haven't felt a rage like this since you, Ed Harley. If you know what's best, you send him on his way. Oh, Ed, like I said the night before when you and I met, in the end, it's not me who makes the decision. It's the person who wants it. You know where this is going, don't you? Anyway, the boys actually get so yeah. Not only does Jody actually scold her brothers, but when the father actually finds out that they also attacked the younger Ricky's young sister, yeah, he unloads on them too because it turns out that was even worse. All right, that he wants. Put it this way: if he did have his way, he would have skinned them alive. That's how pissed he was. Anyway, back in the woods, actually. Now, yes, the old witch does try her best, in her way possible, to actually make sure Ricky doesn't summon Pumpkinhead. But in the end, he wants pure vengeance, and he wants this damn feud to stop. And he's sick of it, and he wants those fuckers to die. So he accepts the responsibility, gives her his blood, and he limps all the way back to his home with his sister, and they have a few. And of course, yeah, when the Hatfield father finds out about this, he scolds his boys even more because okay, yeah, you want to kill them Hatfield boys, I can understand that, but the women are off fucking limits, you fucking bastards. Yeah, so he scolds them and nearly beats them. I was like, shit, I would have. So the old witch actually summons Pumpkinhead this time around, and he gets to work immediately. He goes after a couple of Hatfields who are moonshining. Kills them relatively easily. Yeah, I mean, hell, one of them actually gets blown up in the distillery, while the other one actually gets killed by Pumpkinhead's bare hands. Ricky is actually asleep at the time when this whole thing is happening, and rather than feeling pain, he's like, uh, he's enjoying it. He wants this whole thing to happen. He wants to feel the pain. He wants this fucking feel the end. So the next morning, a hunter finds one of the bodies and actually calls the sheriff, and the sheriff is Dallas. Yeah, it turns out years ago when Dallas and his brother got off from killing that young girl by accident, yeah, their father was the sheriff. So yeah, now that guy's retired and Dallas took up the mantle as the sheriff. He sees the carnage and he knows it was Pumpkinhead that did it. And even Ed Harley comes by to actually tell him it was Pumpkinhead. It's like, you know, it was him who did this. You need to finish what you started so many years ago. So now, to be fair, this actually this is actually getting a little bit interesting. We have the Romeo and Juliet storyline, we have the family feud of the Hatfields and McCoys, and we have a sheriff who's coming to terms of his dark past with the beast itself, and we have Pumpkinhead. this is a mixed bag film. So yeah, most of them. So yeah, as as the film progresses onwards, the Hatfields actually thought it was maybe a bear that did this or something, or some type of a wild animal. So they go set some traps and everything, only to have Pumpkinhead screw the whole thing up and actually murder every one of those, murder at least every one of these boys. Hell, at one point, one of the Hatfield boys actually gets his leg trapped in a bear trap, only to have one of the birds try to cut him the leg off, and hearing Pumpkin come by, he just runs away while giving him the knife, and he cuts the rest of his leg off. Hey, don't worry. Hey, don't worry about the guy. He's already dead. Pumpkin takes that very knife and just stabs him in the neck. Yeah. Ricky feels every one of these things, and yeah, they know, and even the McCoys realize there's something wrong with Ricky. There's something going on with him in a way. And to be fair, the Hatfields that actually did get axed off by Pumpkinhead, they're actually the ones that were responsible for his sister's death. So, yep. But anyway, we go back to Jolene, and basically she finds out. She hears back from Ricky saying that, yeah, Ricky put something in motion to actually end this whole feud once and for all. She's very concerned about the whole thing. And then she hears and then Ed Harley comes to visit her and tells her it's her who has to put an end to the terror that's happening. Of course, she thought it was just a dream, and hears the name Ed Harley. So, yeah, she doesn't believe any of it, though, until she goes into town to the general store to pick up some supplies, until she hears a couple of kids actually teasing a young little girl, a couple of little boys teasing a young girl about Pumpkinhead. You know, the famous Southern tale that scares kids. And so she thinks the whole thing is all BS until she hears Ed Harley's name being mentioned. All right, so she actually goes out to the field. So she actually goes to find where the witch is, and she comes across the pumpkin patch field where Pumpkinhead is supposed to lay eggs, only to meet Pumpkinhead himself. And yeah, this is by far the only time in the entire franchise we see Pumpkinhead in the daylight. So it's kind of surreal. And he actually goes up to her and about to kill her until he realizes, no, this Hatfield is off limits to him. How close does Jolene get to Pumpkinhead? I'll put it this way: my face is Jolene, and my hand will be Pumpkinhead. Yeah, that fucking close. If it was me, I'd be shitting bricks at that point. No, not bricks. I'd be shitting a whole fucking house at that point. Yeah, that fucking close, folks. The witch later comes by and tells her that boy must really love you, since you're a Hatfield. Don't worry, dear child. He won't kill you, because your heart belongs to the one who summoned him. So you're off limits. And of course, during Pumpkinhead's anger, he just walks away. Yeah. So the witch tells her exactly what happened, and of course, Jolene doesn't actually believe it. But she remembers that young Sarah did get killed. So she runs back to the house, and of course the sheriff is there to actually talk to the boys and tell them about the dead brothers and the cousins, the dead Hatfields. The Hatfields think it was the McCoys, and they actually, and so the Hatfields get ready to set up Molotov cocktails to burn down the McCoys once and for all. The sheriff tries to stop them, only to get a gun butt to the back of the head. So they drive up to the McCoys, and they start setting the house on. They want to set the house on fire, only to have the McCoys actually fight them off. Jodine actually tries to stop the whole thing. One of the Molotov cocktails actually does hit the house, only to make them realize the mother was still in the house and she's unarmed. Uh, so Jodine actually rushes into the house and actually well, the Hatfields realize the mistake, so they work with the McCoys to get them both out of the house. So yeah, they got them out of the house. And the second the Hatfields get back home, yeah, their father lays in on them big time because they almost kill the McCoy's wife, but they also almost got their sister killed. This whole thing has gotten completely out of hand. So you know what happens? the father McCoy actually shows up with the same Model T that started this whole feud. It's like, look, we start this. This whole thing has got to end. So they call a truce for the time. So, as a gesture, the McCoys and the Hatfields call a truth. Call a truth. A truce. And so they get all the boys. So they get all the family members in the Hatfield house to have a meeting. And it goes about as well as you can expect. They bicker back and forth, back and forth. Oh, who's actually to blame for all this, though? That's it. Anyway, the sheriff is there too, but he tells them it isn't a man who's doing it. It ain't no wild animal. He tells them everything about Pumpkinhead and what's capable of doing it. More importantly, he tells them how they can stop it. Jodine actually comes in and she tells them that he speaks the truth because Pumpkin almost killed her earlier that day, but didn't because of the fact that Ricky and her are in love and it won't kill her. I know it'll kill everybody else and anybody who gets in its way. Yep, you can see where this is going. Anyway, the sheriff tells them that Ricky was the one who summoned it. They have to kill him. They don't want the McCoys don't want to hear about it though, but the Hatfields say they probably need to do it though. But the sheriff tells them there's no other way. However, they actually ask the sheriff, "How the fuck does he know everything about Pumpkinhead?" He takes his shirt, he opens his shirt and shows them the wound he got from Pumpkinhead all those years ago, and tells him what he had done to deserve the beast's wrath on him. So, and he tells him how he stopped Pumpkinhead. So yeah, now they fully fucking believe him. Jodine's little baby sister, younger sister, actually sees Pumpkinhead outside. Basically, Ricky gives Pumpkinhead the go ahead to attack the family, even his own, because he doesn't care anymore. Yeah, he's at this point he is just blood drunk. He wants this whole thing to end, even if it means the death of his own family too. So he doesn't care anymore. So there's actually bickering back and forth about who if they should leave, if the McCoy should leave and go. The main father, Father McCoy, scolds his boys. Look, one of us start this, but we have to end this. This feud is over. Like it or not, we have to stop this fucking beast. So they all grab their guns and where's Pumpkinhead? He's on the roof. And he goes after the little sister, only to have Joni actually jump right in front of him, trying to stop him. And the McCoys and the then so the Hatfields and the McCoys try their best to fight him off. Yeah, they pretty much get fucking slaughtered. Even Grandpa chimes in, and he gets ripped to pieces. We don't actually see it though, but yeah, you start to feel bad for Grandpa on this one. I mean, seriously, this fucking movie has a huge body count compared to the other films. I mean, god damn! Nothing but a massive body count at this point. So Jody and her sister actually do finally escape, and they see Ricky's right there. Jody tries to convince him to stop it, and he tells her that it's too late. It has to run its course. She basically curses him out. The two fathers are the only people left behind because you see an entire hallway filled with body parts at this point. And the upstairs, the sheriff actually comes to terms to it, and Holly tells him it's time. You have to finish it. So the sheriff nuts up, goes upstairs, and scolds Pumpkinhead. And they continue, and they finish off what they started those years ago. And the sheriff pretty much gets his ass kicked, but at this point he doesn't care anymore. So you know what? I think this scene would have worked out better if he was there with a bottle of Jack Daniels, scarfs the whole thing down, and chucks the bottle at Pumpkinhead and starts shooting at him like a madman. That probably would have made the scene even better. I'm just saying, it's a Southern film. Might as well make sure the sheriff was fucking drunk as hell. So yeah, eventually the fight goes all the way outside where Pumpkin finally kills off the sheriff. So while Jolene tells her sister to run away because Pumpkinhead's not going after her, it's going after her sister next. So Jody goes after so Pumpkin goes after the little sister while Jody goes after Pumpkinhead. They're actually by a field where there's an open well nearby, and of course Jody does her best trying to stop him, only to have Pumpkinhead try to choke her out. Ricky finally snaps out of his his murder days and tackles Pumpkin, only to have him toss him aside. So I should also mention that Jodie actually grabbed the sheriff's gun and it's loaded too. After the sheriff died, she grabbed the gun after he died and just went after Pumpkinhead. And Harley's right there telling Jodie, "You need to do it. It has to be you. You need to do it." So Ricky convinces her to shoot him. And so, yeah, she shoots him a couple of times, which actually injures Pumpkinhead. Ricky grabs Pumpkinhead and they both get thrown down the well. I'm just kidding. They're still in the well, but Pumpkinhead tries to crawl his way out of the well. Ricky actually grabs on by is literally right on top of Pumpkinhead, and he's yelling at Jodie to kill him. And with the final shot, kills Ricky, and they both he and Pumpkinhead head down the well. Yep. So Jodie and her sister finally survive. The feud is over, but there's a massive body count. All this in the name of love and vengeance. And that, folks, was Pumpkinhead 4 Blood Feud. And it is a clusterfuck with the storyline. I mean, Jesus. I mean, jeez, come on. Oh, like I said, it is a massive clusterfuck. All right, I mean, like I said before, you have a Romeo and Juliet storyline mixed in with the Hatfield and McCoy storyline, and you toss in Pumpkinhead and a useless redemption story arc with a sheriff with a dark past, and you get this fucking movie. Talk about insane. And like I said before, this was the last Pumpkinhead film that came out in the entire franchise, and of course the supposed remake has been in limbo since then. It's been in production hell since, with even Rob Zombie attached at one point, only to turn it down. Hell, even Rob Zombie was attached to actually remake the fucking Blob film, but he turned it down eventually. Even Samuel L. Jackson has his name attached to that film too. The Blob remake, not this one. Right, because this is a Southern tale, so obviously you're going to need a bunch of Southerners just to actually play in the film, or have actors with Southern accents to do it, or pretend to have Southern accents. All joking aside, would I even recommend this movie? The answer is only if you're a hardcore Pumpkinhead fan. I mean, it's for the I mean, I would say this is mostly for the fans, but it's passable at best. All right, I deem it as an okay film. The only thing that's actually decent about this movie is the body count. And yeah, coming from a horror fan, that's the only decent thing about it, though. That being said, oh, yeah, and that's Pumpkinhead 4 for you. Is it good? Is it bad? It's a mixed bag. Now, if you want a decent Pumpkinhead film experience, all right, these are the films I do highly recommend the most to watch. The first one and the third one. That's it. Ignore the second one. As for the fourth one, this one's optional at best. Okay? But if you want a decent covert story, watch the first and third one. That's it. Okay? That being said, Ferox Frank, out. Oh, what's the next film review? Pray for me. That's all I gotta say. Sayonara.